So firstly, I'm going to demonstrate the filter inside of the Studio engine, and then I will be showing how everything else works. But as of right now, I have myself and this ball right here, where this ball is a word listener, which is going to play back my audio. It's going to register what I'm saying, and then it's going to output the audio back to my device. So let me just switch really quickly. And right now, this is the raw audio coming from my microphone. And let's just add a filter to it. And this is how my voice sounds with the chorus filter right now. And now I can switch back to default. And I can go in between these filters like this, and it's going to update every time. So right now we are in Studio, and I'm going to remove the audio listener from this word listener right here. This is how it was set up basically. You have the listener, the device output, and it's connected through a wire. And the first thing we need to be able to listen to the audio is basically voice chat service. For some reason, sometimes the service is gone and doesn't appear in the Studio, right here in the Explorer, and I don't really know what causes that, so if you don't have the voice chat service, it might not work. But you basically just want to have the use audio API enabled, and this enable default voice, what it does, if I let's say disable the script right here and just enable this option, is going to create the voice chat instances inside of the player and the character. So the player is going to have the audio device input right here, and also the audio emitter inside of the character. And both of these are connected through this wire. But instead of having to look for these instances, you can disable this option and that won't create these instances, which means we can create them on our own. But let me just start off by adding a listener that I already shown in my previous video. So this script that's inside of the starter player scripts, right here, this is only adding the listener inside of the camera. So this one is going to listen to the audio. And this listener audio interactive group needs to be set to my group. And I'm going to delete this script right here, so I'm gonna set everything up from the scratch. So let's start off by adding a server script inside of the server script service. And this one will be named AddVoice. So let's get the player service and just connect some functions to the player added and character appearance loaded events. And inside of this character appearance loaded, we need to create the audio device input instance to register sound coming from our microphone. And this one can just be parented to the player instance. Then we need to set the mic input.player. We need to give it the player that it's gonna be listening to. So it's going to be the player that just joined. And then it also needs a name. But you basically just have this mic input that is only going to work with voice chat, and every player that joins the game is gonna have their own mic input instance. So you have something that is going to register our microphone, but there is also the emitter. And the emitter is a speaker, basically, that's going to play the sound coming from our microphone. So you can name this one mic emitter. And just set its parent to our player's character. And then previously, like inside of this script, we need the interaction group. So you can do mic emitter, audio interaction group is equal to the mic group right here. And this will create the instances which will allow us to basically use voice chat. But there is one bad thing with it right now, and it's that you are basically able to hear yourself in-game. So whenever you are speaking, you are also going to hear your voice, but one possible solution provided by a Roblox developer on the official audio API post is that you could have a local script delete the wire coming from the audio input device, or rather audio device input. So for example, you could add another script inside of the starter character scripts, and inside of this script, I'm going to move it right there. Since this is a starter character script, I'm going to name this one delete wire. If I just do a playtest, this script is going to appear inside of my character. If I go to isPol, the delete wire is going to be right here. I then created two audio emitters, and that is because I didn't disable this option. So now it's off. But in the delete wire script, you basically get the character through script.parent, and then you would look for the wire inside of here. That would be character, wait for child, and then the whatever microphone emitter instance. You would also set its name and then look for the name right here, and then you would do find fish side of class, wire, and then just do wire destroy. So just something like that should technically work, but I'm going to not do this script since I want to just focus on this one, and I can't really test it right now since I would need another person, but the only thing available right now is this ball right here. But let's go back to the script. And I don't want to connect these two things right now, the mic input and the mic emitter, because I want to make a function that's going to be named AddFilter. And this AddFilter is going to be the function that makes the connection instead. And whenever the player joins, I want to add basically AddFilter for the player and a default filter. So this function is going to take the player argument, which is a player, and the filter name, which is a string. And right now we need to keep the track of which filter the player has equipped, and we can do it by session data. And we can set the session data from player right here, which would be equal to, and we need to set few things inside of the session data. One of them is the input, which is going to be the mic input, then the emitter, which is going to be the mic emitter, then a cleanup function, right now it can be set to nil, and the current filter, which is going to be none, because it's going to be assigned right here to default. And to clear the session data, we need player service.player removing, and connect a function to it that's going to get the player, and here we just want to set the session from player to nil. But basically what is going to happen in this AddFilter function? This function is basically going to be a player to server communication, and that's why we need an event inside of the replicated storage, since the player needs to tell the server which effect they want to basically equip. So let's make references to the event. And then we do AddFilter event on server event, connect AddFilter. Since the player that's going to be passing the filter is also going to pass the filter name. So first we check the current filter. If it's equal to the filter name, then we don't want to do anything. But if it's not equal, then we basically just assign it. Then there is the cleanup function, and that is because every time the player is changing the effects from, let's say right here, if it was this chorus, let's say, we basically need to connect the microphone input to the chorus effect, and then connect the chorus effect to the emitter. And we need this cleanup function to basically just manage it. So we do local cleanup, it's going to be equal to the session from player.cleanup. Then we do if cleanup, then we do the cleanup. And right now we need to assign the filters to player's microphone. And instead of doing everything inside of this script, because it would be really messy, I recommend that you add a module script. And this module script is going to handle basically every effect that is going to be added. And let's name this one, choose AddFilter. Then we just want to return a function, and this function, I'm going to move it to the side right here. This function is going to have the filter name from right here. And we also need to set the player session because we have the input and the emitter. And we do that because we basically just need to connect the filter between these two. So we get the player session. And what this module is going to do, at the end it needs to return nothing as a just in case, because instead of doing 20 different if checks from different filters, we can just have one check right here to check if the filter exists. So you can have a filter to run variable. Then we do if filter to run, then, and then it's going to return filter to run and the function. And right now we also need set filters. And we can do them by adding a folder inside of the script, and this one will be named filter pack. And right now I have a chorus effect, but I'm going to go to the dev forum post really quickly. There is basically these 15 new instances, right? The filters that you can put on the audio are the chorus, compressor, then distortion, echo, equalizer, fader, flanger, and the pitch shift and the reverb. So I'm going to do the chorus and also like a, I don't know, the reverb, let's say, to show you how you can apply this basically modularly. So instead of this filter pack, we already have the default option right here. So in the module script, and this one will be named default. And basically all of these scripts are going to require making wires. So you can add a module script that is going to make the wires for us. This one will be named makeWire. And all the script does is return a function that's going to have the source and also the target. Then we set the wire parent to be the source, then wire.source instance to be the source, then the target instance to be the target. And then what I like to do with the wires is make them to basically show what they are connected to. And I do so by wire.name is equal to source.name, and then do ... to connect a string and this string is going to be an arrow, then just do the dots again, and do target.name. So this one is going to connect from source to target. And then I can just return the wire. And that's it for the makeWire script, but for the default one, just so all of these scripts aren't going to be like require script.parent parent makeWire, I'm just going to add a tag. And this one will be named wire tag. And then what I can do is wire mod is equal to require get the collection service, get tag from the wire tag, and then from 1. So this line of code is going to look like this. If you don't want to use collection service for that, you can just do, like I said, script.parent.parent.makeWire. But I would rather have the collection service because I might have just something else that's going to be using the wire module, but it's going to be stored in a different location. But now that you have the wire module, I'm just going to open it on this side right here, and this default filter, all this one needs to do is connect the microphone input from right here to the microphone emitter. So you return a function that takes the source and the target, just like before, and then we do local wire, it's equal to the wire mod from the source to the target. And right now this AddFilter, it needs to return something. So this function also needs to return something, and the thing that we need to return is going to be the cleanup function. So instead of the AddFilter, I'm going to do session from player.cleanup is equal to, then I need to require the filter module, require script.addFilter. Then this cleanup is going to be equal to filter module from the filter name. Is the filter name right here, then we need the player session. So you just do session from player. And now going back to the default script, right now we need to return a callback function, which is just going to be the cleanup. And for the cleanup, we only need to destroy the wire. So you just do wire destroy. And this should be everything for the default one. And now let's move to the AddFilter function. So inside of the AddFilter, all of the filters are going to be inside of this filter pack. So right now we need to make a reference to it. And then make a function that's going to be named like getPack. Then we just do local pack is equal to an empty table, and then we loop through the children inside of the filter pack folder. So you do for index filter module, in pairs filter pack, then get children, and then do. Then we need to return the pack, and inside of this for loop, we just do pack from the filter module.name, and now it's going to be the required filter module. So here we just do return pack, and then make another variable that's going to be named filter table. And this one is just going to be the getPack. So this script is going to check if the filter that the player has given us from this, where was it? Filter name is going to check if any of the module scripts right here are going to have the filter name. So we do filter to run is going to be equal to this filter table from the past filter name right here. And that's it from the AddFilter. Right now I'm just going to do a playtest to show how it's connected through the mic input and the mic emitter instead of our character. So I go to the player service, my player, and I am getting an error for whatever reason. Oh, that's because this filter pack isn't supposed to be script.parent, it should be script.filter pack, like this. So now I am going to run it, and now if I go to the player instance, the mic input is going to be right here. Now my character also has the audio emitter, and there should also be a wire somewhere. And it didn't create it because, oh, I didn't pass anything in the filter to run. So the default one, this one didn't have the source and the target. So what I need to do is get the player session that, and then it was input, then the player session again, and emitter. So now if I run it, everything should be connected. And there is the microphone input to the audio emitter inside of the microphone input right here. And right now, if I press on the default one, only the default audio is going to play, when the default one is only being connected to basically the device. So let's make the chorus one now. And I can just duplicate the default one and name this one audio chorus. And inside of here, since this one will need wires, presumably two wires, one from the input then to the chorus, and then from the chorus to the emitter, and also the emitter itself to basically be cleaned up later. So what we can do is have a pack that's going to be removed later. And this pack will just be moved down right here, where firstly I'm going to make the chorus. And then here we can also set the parent to the source. And this one will be wire 1 that's connected from the source to the chorus. And then wire 2, which I'm going to copy this line, is going to be connected from the chorus to the target. The target being the audio emitter. And this pack is going to have the chorus instance, the wire 1, and then the wire 2. And inside of this callback function, we can just do for index, instance, in pairs pack, do, and we just want to do instance and then destroy. So I am going to move this chorus right here, and then just make a communication from the client to the server. So I already made this UI right here, and it only has like this frame, and then just these two buttons. One is the audio chorus, and I recommend that you name these buttons the same as the filters inside of this folder right here, because I sent the button name through this local script with the AddFilter event. I just look through the instances of the frame and then check if the frame is a text button, which is basically the audio chorus and then the default. Then I connect a function on the activated event, and I just fire the AddFilter event to the server with the button name. And I wish I could playtest it in Studio, but I can't. I also need to add a listener to this part. For some reason my voice chat is not working in Studio, and I don't know if it's because I enabled the API or maybe something else, so I need to do a live test, but I'm just going to set up the word listener. So I need the audio listener, then the device output, and also a wire. This is the source, then this is the target, and the listener also needs the audio interaction group, basically the same as me setting the listener in the local script that here, it's going to be the mic group. So I'm just going to put it right there. And I'm going to publish this game to Roblox, and this is the voice API test, and this is the voice API test right here. That was updated 7 seconds ago, so I'm going to do a playtest right now, and you saw that it loaded, but I'm basically going to go and mute my microphone, and this is the issue with you hearing yourself, right? But I basically have two listeners. One is this ball and the other one is my character, and I'm going to enable the chorus effect right now. But you can basically just hear that it applied. And if I change it back to default, I can't really hear it right now, but I'm guessing that it's default now. Right? Yeah. And let's also add another effect. So I'm not gonna need this audio listener here because I'm able to hear myself talking anyway. But let's go to the filter pack, then just copy the chorus. And this one, like I said, is gonna be the audio reverb. So instead of this audio reverb, instead of the chorus, is going to be the reverb, and this is going to be the audio reverb. And now we also need to make the button, so I can copy the default one, and just name this one audio reverb, and just change the text. So now I need to publish this, and again I'm gonna refresh this one, and this one was updated 6 seconds ago. So let's do another playtest, and again I'm gonna mute myself on the OBS, and let's try adding the reverb right now. So it has the reverb effect, and yeah, you can basically just hear the result now. So again, default, this is the chorus, and this is the reverb. So yeah. And I'm pretty sure you can add multiple ones. Let's say I'm going to add another one inside of the reverb. Let's just add the audio echo. Then we need to connect the source to the reverb, then the reverb to the echo. Let's also not forget to change the parent. And then another wire, which is gonna be wire 3, from echo to the target. And this takes the wire 3 and also the echo. And let's see if it added the echo. So I'm going to speak again with the reverb, with the reverb, with the reverb, with the reverb, and yeah, and yeah, and yeah, and so you can hear how you can have a bit of fun with basically these filters. And okay, this bit was recorded a bit later after I finished recording the last video, but I basically just thought about the solution, because you are adding wires from the input to the emitter every time you change the filter. And the wire is basically always going to be connected in the, where is it? Mic input right here. You can see the instances being added. Like these have the wires, right? And one of the instances is always going to have the audio emitter one. So what you could do is, where was it? On the AddFilter function. After you basically just change the filter, you can do AddFilter event, then fire client, the player, with the session from player dot emitter. So after firing this event, you can go back to this local script right here, and then just do onFilter event, connect a function, and then the emitter. Okay, so maybe instead of doing this, instead of the emitter, I'm just going to do the input. Then inside of the script, instead of this being an emitter, this is going to be the audio device input. But we don't really need the input itself, rather it's children. So I do input get children, or maybe not children, like get the descendants would be quicker. Then for index wire in pairs children, do. If type of wire is going to be equal to a wire, then we just do wire and then destroy, because it's just going to destroy a random wire instead of the microphone input. Doesn't really matter which one, and then after it does, we just need to break the loop. So I'm just going to check if something like this works. Okay, apparently the wire is just an instance, so I need to think of something else to just remove the wire. So I'm just going to do if string and then find, and instead of the wire dot name, we are going to find the emitter. Then we want to do wire destroy, and then just break. So I'm just going to publish this to Roblox and just do one more last check. So the word listener is basically not going to work, since as you saw I was speaking through my mic, but it wasn't registering the audio. So I'm just going to find someone that I can test this with really quickly. I've did the thing that you can't hear yourself, you know, in game, but I'm not 100% sure if other people can hear you. This is, I'm like recording this a bit just to check if, you know, I'm gonna be able to put this in the tutorial if it even works or not. So yeah, let's just meet on Discord. Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but apparently you can't hear me.
Oh, wait, maybe something is wrong with voice chat. Okay, try joining now.
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you, but I can't hear myself talking, so it's actually working. Yeah. Wait, let me also show you the reverb. So it has a reverb and also an echo, and this is how I sound like when I use it. Can you try enabling it too?
Hello? 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 Wait, can you hear it? Wait, can you hear it?
Oh my god.
Ooh. Okay, wait, so you... Okay, wait, what again?
You are on the chorus one. This is how you sound like now.
Oh, wait, so did you do it like when you're speaking, you can't hear yourself, but only
Yeah.
other people?
Yeah.
That's nice, that's nice. Cool.
Alright. So yeah, thank you for testing. It's actually working.
Yeah, that's epic. And
There
of
is
course...
like only one downside to it. You can't, like this ball, right? It has a word listener. Since the emitter is disabled locally, you basically just can't hear the listener.
okay.
But other than that, it's working pretty good.
Yeah, that's really epic. That's cool.
And yeah, that is basically going to be everything for today. Like I said previously, you can do a lot of creative stuff with these effects and the new audio API, and I'm planning on doing few more tutorials later in the future with this. One of them is going to be an intercom tutorial that's also going to use the voice chat, and another one is going to be the walkie-talkies. But I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial, and as usual, if you found it informative, then please leave a like, and also subscribe to the channel. But that's going to be everything for today, so thank you guys for watching and see ya!